Welcome to the Sankofa Ancestor Shrine, where every week we invite spiritual Black folk to reconnect with our ancestors as we journey through the crossroads. Please consider donating through patreon.com/Sankofa Shrine. Ancestors, please help us to have faith in our future and our abilities, the same way that we have faith in so many other people and situations in our lives. As we learn to embrace our own intuition and path, speak to us through readings, synchronicity, and signs so that we may stay aware and grounded in our vision. Ancestors, water us. Ashe.
Loving myself has been difficult. Simply to be who I am, just to believe that who I am is perfect. Looking in the mirror, here's my chance. I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. I looked at my face, my eyes, my smile, and that's when I realized it had been here all the while. I looked at myself, so strong, tall and proud. I looked in my heart and I knew love was found. I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day. Hey, I wrote a letter to myself and I sent it right away. I said I love you more and more each day.
Welcome to the Sankofa Ancestor Shrine. Today we're going to talk about the meaning in your vision. Don't you know? There is meaning in your vision, And usually this meaning is very personal. It's something that we hold dear. We think about it a lot. It's often in the back of our mind, popping up new ideas every once in a while. And it's something we hold dear, we cherish, probably don't share with everybody unless it's something that needs to be shared with everybody. And we have ultimate goals. We have ultimate plans. There's things people see and they think we're headed, but they don't even know. They don't even know the half of it, right? Your vision has so many parts, so many plans. There's so much to do in the next few weeks, months, years. And there's not only this personal aspect of it, but there's also the communal aspect, the global aspect, how your personal vision impacts the people directly around you, how that impacts the people they interact with, how it interacts with everybody around you, those who you will never meet, touched by stuff that you do. It helps you, really understand these two parts when you recognize that there does need to be a balance between them. You can't be only interested in your personal. There has to be consideration, right, of the world around you. I like to think of it in terms of children, how you don't decide to have children, but you are part of a community of animals that does in fact have children. And so going into not harming, right? We go into the balance of understanding that even if something isn't your personal responsibility, it is your communal responsibility. There are things that impact us that we have to keep in mind. There are things that we impact that we have to also keep in mind. So our vision is one of those things that impacts other people, whether they like it or not. And they take it because we are a part of a community. We are part of a global society. And I think it's a very real thing that many of us shy away from being too specific about our vision. Even when we're very interested in it, we don't go quite all the way of spelling it out or trying to make anything too specific, which leaves a lot of wiggle room for the end result, for sure. Especially with the very important things, some things that doesn't quite matter, right? But then some things it really does matter if there's a bit of wiggle room for the end result. And also if it lengthens the timeline, you end up spending way more time to get somewhere than you maybe would have otherwise. And then finally, being so general about your vision leaves ample opportunity for you to be distracted. Understanding and embracing your vision gives you clarity, which makes the distractions not as effective at diverting you. And there are going to be a lot of distractions. There's going to be people out there who don't like your vision or don't like where you're going. And there's also going to be distractions in the form of people who look like they're living a way better life than you. So you're like, maybe I'm just doing this all wrong. Maybe I should just be doing these other things, not following my little heart's desire. And, not trying to help out, not trying to do all this other stuff. I just need to be like ruthless, or I need to be doing this job that I don't really care about, but, makes decent money. Losing all passion. That's another distraction. And it's, I think, one that's easy to fall into, especially with social media this age, where, people are social media stars and they always are putting their best foot forward, which all humans have always done, right? You didn't show up to Sunday, church looking raggedy. You put on your best, and your family showed up with, the dirt wiped off their cheeks, for goodness sakes, at least one time a week when the people saw. And so I think we've always kind of been that way. We've always been that way of, not wanting people to see our worst face, or unless they really needed to. But I digress. I do think, from it's been noted, from a young age, we're kind of conditioned not to examine the true possibilities of what we can achieve, right? We're kind of herded into certain jobs, usually based on how much money they make. And that's kind of our lives, you know. There's not as much purpose behind it. There's obviously not very much community behind it. And purpose isn't really given to those things like, let's say, jobs that work for the environment, jobs that work for the community, those jobs are notoriously either, you know, mocked or underpaid, undervalued. So there's just not really, you know, much of a outlet for those types of things. The true possibilities of what we can achieve are often diminished. If you have lofty dreams, especially as a child, you know, people kind of nod, wink, wink at each other. By the time you're a teenager, they are shutting that shit down. They are like, you will never be a pop star, you will never be a model, you will never be a football player, you will never be, insert whatever wild, extravagant dream this child has. And, you know, because we're so often shut down, because these things are considered impossible, because we're not told to actually dream big, by most people in our lives, we have to, you know, reprogram ourselves so that we can focus on the infinite opportunities that surround us when we get a little older, so that we can focus on the opportunities that are within our opportunities. And the expansion of even the most simple tasks to sacred proportions, with the level of love and care that we put into it, can absolutely transform what we're doing, where we're going, how well we do it, how much it impacts others as well as ourselves. But, you know, even this small bit of power is stripped from us. And, you know, people accuse it of not being anything, or devalue it, should I say, into not really being anything at all. So I think it's important to understand that what's right in front of us is not that's all that's available to us. This is just our perception, but that's not the actual reality. This is just the options that are presented to us as the most, you know, common, the most viable, the most, well-trodden path. Everybody's kind of done this, so it makes you a useful cog in society to just join in. So that's kind of what you're encouraged to do. But even if you do join in, there are ways to expand what you're doing to put that love and care and sacred touch into every little thing that you're doing. It doesn't have to just be what you're being asked to do. So this week, the encouragement is to take time to be more specific with yourself about your vision, and take time to write out not only a vision statement, but a mission statement, which should be one sentence, and it's easy to remember and to repeat either to yourself or to others. And this can just be something about the values that you hold, a general goal that you have, what is the underlying reason that you do what you do. Finding a mission statement for yourself, making it very solid, making it concrete, and something that is applicable to you is such a powerful step of claiming your journey, of claiming your future. And I think with this step, a lot of people can get kind of caught up because you want your mission statement to be like the best thing ever. But there has to be a level of you that understands that as you're moving in real time, as you're just going for it, you're not going to be the absolute perfect. So the perfectionist in you can still be, trying to add its touch, but it can't handicap you to the point where you're not even going to write a mission statement, or you're not even going to attempt to do what you're going to do, because you just know when you go up there, it's not going to be perfect. Or the second you're done, you're like, if only I had practiced it this way or done it this way. You're never going to get anything done, and you're going to just end up paralyzing yourself for weeks, months, years, and not achieve those goals. So keeping in mind that your mission statement may change by the end of the year, may change by next year, 10 years from now, may not even be applicable. Make one that's applicable right now, right in this moment, with the goals and the vision that you have already. And so I did want the second part to be the vision statement, but I have this list here that I found that could perhaps give inspiration. It was a little value list. And of course, I just screenshotted this PowerPoint I found online without screenshotting the very first page. So I don't quite remember. It was like some kind of a leadership page. I found this wonderful PowerPoint that had a values list. So that's the only part I copied off. But I thought that this values list would really give a wonderful head start to the brainstorm. And perhaps you could jot down the ones that mean something to you or are the most important to you. And in that way, be able to really, focus your vision statements, not only on your goals, but like on what the goals mean to you. What's the underlying purpose of all of these? What are the values underneath all of this vision, right? So here are the values in alphabetical order, it appears. Adaptability, adventure, agility, authenticity, balance, beauty, being humble, brilliance, camaraderie, career, choice, compassion, community, contribution, courage, creativity, education, efficiency, empowerment, enjoyment, excellence, fair, faith, family, financial security, fitness, flexibility, freedom, generosity, good attitude, gratitude, growth, health, heroic, honesty, humility, humor, independence, innovation, integrity, joyfulness, justice, leadership, loyalty, non-enabling, nurturance, partnerships, patience, perseverance, playfulness, professionalism, prosperity, purposefulness, quality, relationship, resiliency, responsibility, spirituality, support, teamwork, and unconditional love. So, highlighting the key words there that stood out to you for your vision story, take, 5 to 10 minutes. Don't make it into something so excessive that you never finish. But, try and write out your mission statement and then write out a vision statement that includes, those values that you felt really jumped out to you and what will take you further in life, as well as, that impact on others, that all of it. Just try and tie in those goals and the vision together. Think big, dream big, and then put this somewhere where you will see it, which is why it's best that you would handwrite this. But obviously typing can help if you're feeling like this is intimidating, and then keeping a copy of the document somewhere where you can see it and access it often. And maybe make it the first thing that pops up when you open your windows on the computer, for, the internet, when you open the internet on your computer. And so find a way to show this to you, print it out maybe, hopefully, and keep it around you so that you can stay focused on this vision, and then also know when it's time to perhaps tweak something, when something's not as important to you, or you found a better way to verbalize exactly what it was that you were interested in doing. So feel free to share your mission statement. I'm going to definitely be trying to think of a good one for myself, because I really love that idea of being able to repeat it back to myself when I need it, when I need to encourage myself or remind myself, keep myself going with what I need. So that was all I had to say about finding meaning in your vision and recognizing that meaning in your vision. And also, recognizing that you're supported in your vision, recognizing that the ancestors are behind you, that you are likely not the first to have this kind of vision, have this kind of talent, have this kind of drive. And so calling on the ancestors who were similar in that way to help assist you and help keep you in track, and utilize some of their ideas as well. And now that you have these platforms that they did not have, finding a way to collaborate with the ancestors, use your intuition, use your divination to infuse into the vision you have, and to read the meaning, feel free to use tarot as well as you write your vision statement. I often love to pull a couple cards and have them there to really keep myself in tune with the topic at hand in a spiritual sense while I'm doing it. So yes, feel free to use any kind of divination. I'm very excited for if anybody is going to share theirs. Also, please, if you're in the sister circle, please keep making your Sanab Freedom project, your quilt square, or if you decided quilting's not your thing and you're going to use a different artistic medium, such as painting, sculpture, poetry. I'm not sure, what else you want to do for each gateway. But I finished my first patch, my first, quilt square. So I'm very excited about that. And next Sister Circle, we'll be talking about the Sacred Words Gateway, and perhaps brainstorming some ideas to make the square for that one. So I made Sacred Womb. I'm very excited to make a video sharing that one with all of you. I wanted to close out our sacred session today with some beautiful indigenous words from an Alaskan native named Ernestine Hayes. She wrote this book called The Tao of Raven. And on the back, there's some wonderful quotes by two other amazing Native American authors, Suzanne Power and Linda Hogan. And Linda Hogan has, I'm pretty sure, a wonderful book on nature and connecting with the earth, if that's something that you're interested in. But this book I wanted to share because it has a few really powerful passages here in the beginning of the book. And I haven't even finished it, but I did want to share this portion with you. In this book, she uses the traditional figure of the trickster raven to convey messages of wisdom, using your wit, using what you know, biding your time, waiting for divine timing, using your intuition, that sort of thing, right? The traditional trickster figure, which I think, I mean, it's starting to seem like a lot of indigenous communities had these. I know in the Americas, I've seen several trickster figures. Africa, of course. There's trickster figures such as Anansi, and of course here in America we have Brer Rabbit. I'm pretty sure is our trickster figure. Right? He could trick Brer Fox into throwing him into the Brer Patch, right? I remember that story from being a child. So these trickster figures are ways of using what you have to come out on top, even if you may not seem, like the most powerful of all creatures, the strongest, the best at everything, what have you. But you kind of are. So I really love trickster figures, which is why I was drawn to this particular book. And I wanted to share this with you also because I really liked her. I felt it was a very encouraging message, the passage I'm about to read, and one that could help you as you continue on this journey of understanding your vision, finding that meaning, and putting faith in that meaning, love and support behind that meaning, putting it in yourself and in your own work, and in utilizing the time you have while you have it. So I hope you enjoy this passage. This is on page 9, 10, and 11, I believe, is what I'm about to read. Do you see the water at the top of the creek, at the top of the mountain that holds our town in the palm of its hand and seeks the shoreline that our own front doors face? Be like that water. Be yielding like water. Go along the easiest way, always, always willing to go around something. Offer no resistance. Go the easy way. That's the best way to get where you're going. Remember that all things begin and end in water, just as rivers begin and flow into the sea. When forces oppose, victory will be kind to the ones who crafts herself like water, to the one whose power allows them to yield. Take Raven. When he wanted the box of daylight, he did not invade a village. He didn't storm a house. He found the easy way. He used water. He made himself small so he could get close to daylight with the least effort. This is what Raven did to achieve his goal. More than Raven's cry upon this scrap of tender earth, history cries, our grandfathers cry. Raven's beloved aunties cry for him. Wolves cry for their namesakes. The bear takes pity when he hears us cry for his protection. The ground is covered with tears. More than tears covered the ground on this scrap of sodden earth, more than ice, more than glaciers, more than light and dark and shadow. Hemlock and spruce hold hands and gaze at the rain-washed moon. Blueberry bushes call hello to their salmonberry cousins. Wood ferns cluster, devil's club soothes. Mosses ruffle and creep. Do you hear the movements and calls of life on the fragrant air and in the ready sea and at every place around us? Those calls and tears and cries all signify time. Constantly, they remind us that we cannot rush the bloom. Often, they tell us we must find a good place to wait. When making a move will not gain an advantage and your position is already secure, do not move. Place yourself in a defensible position. When it is your choice to hesitate, to wait for a while, do so at an advantageous spot. After all, certain progress has been made. When you defend your position, be like one who has held on and pulled herself up to a steep place on a high cliff with the Chilcot Mountain at her back, one who has kicked her rope off the ledge and has resolved to engage the battle. From that firm position, make your careful calculations. From that unyielding position, study the circumstances out of which you will assemble victory. From that resolute position, become acquainted with the disposition of your adversary. Take Raven. After he had made himself into a pine needle and caused a young woman to swallow him, he stayed in her belly, where he could hear and understand all that was taking place around him. From that vantage, he listened and waited for the right moment to make his move. From that position, he studied his circumstances and began to recognize his grandfather's weakness. This is what Raven did to achieve his goal. And the Raven story she's referring to is, of course, the stealing of the reclaiming, should I say, of the sun, moon, and stars. When the world was originally dark, it is the Raven who went and retrieved these things in Native history. And I really love how she said moving like water, and he used the water of her womb to gain entrance into the house in a very sweet and, beautiful way. Who could resist a beautiful baby, right? Such a powerful sentiment right there, right? So much, it almost reminded me of when I was reading it of Sun Tzu's The Art of War, how that wisdom, that innate wisdom is really found in so many cultures. It's a shame that we don't hear about it as much, but I hope you enjoyed that little excerpt. Here's the book in case you're interested in getting a copy for yourself. I have a feeling we'll find some more wonderful tidbits to share from this one. That was only page 9. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today for this Ancestor Monday. You have a wonderful week, and may your ancestors and spirit guides be with you at every crossroads.